Sit back, relax, and enjoy listening." With a sudden jolt, RK shot up in bed, his chest heaving as he gasped for breath. His heart pounded against his ribs, and sweat dripped down his forehead. The room was dark, but the dream felt so real, so vivid, it took him a moment to realize he was back home, alone. He buried his face in his hands, his body trembling from the intensity of the nightmare. The image of SV collapsing, her life hanging in the balance because of him, was seared into his mind. The fear gnawed at him, tightening around his chest like a vice. He couldn't let that happen. The idea of being the cause of her suffering, of her reaction filled with hatred and anger, was unbearable. The thought tormented him more than anything. As morning light began to seep through the curtains, RK was haunted by fragmented visuals from the night before. The dream replayed in his mind, each image more vivid and distressing than the last. The scenes of SV's possible breakdown and the intense fear he felt were relentless, as if mocking his helplessness. His mind was in turmoil, torn between marrying her out of obligation and the fear that his presence might endanger her well-being. He was caught between his promise to her mother, who believed RK could take care of SV, and the deep-seated guilt of potentially becoming the reason for SV's suffering. Just as the weight of his thoughts seemed unbearable, the doorbell rang unexpectedly, jolting him from a spiral of distress. The sudden sound pulled him from his torment, and he knew he had to face whatever, or whoever, was at the door, even though his mind was still reeling from the nightmare and his conflicted emotions. RK took a deep breath, trying to steady himself, and moved towards the door. As RK opened the door, his band members stood there, grinning from ear to ear, oblivious to the turmoil he had been going through. "Surprise!" they shouted in unison, entering RK's apartment with infectious energy. "Man, you didn't show up yesterday without telling any of us." "That's not like you," member one said with a friendly punch on RK's arm. "We thought something was wrong, like you were sick or something. So we decided to drop by." RK mustered a smile. "No, nothing like that. I just wasn't feeling up to it." The group exchanged quick glances. They knew RK well enough to know something was off, but none of them pressed the issue immediately. They followed him toward the dining area as he offered breakfast. As they settled in, the conversation remained light and carefree, but Jill, the most observant of the group, hung back, watching RK closely. When the others were distracted, he walked up to RK. Jill confronts RK. Jill leaned closer, his voice low, so the others wouldn't hear. "What's going on, brother?" RK turned to Jill, slightly startled. "What?" "Nothing. I told you, I'm just—" "Stop, RK." Jill's gaze was piercing, filled with concern. "You can't lie properly, brother. So don't even try. You might convince the others, but not me." RK hesitated, his mind battling with whether or not to confide in Jill. The truth weighed heavily on him, and while he had managed to hide it from the rest, Jill's intuition was spot on. Deep down, RK wanted to talk, to let it all out. He sighed, nodding in silent acknowledgement. Jill didn't push further, giving RK the space to speak when he was ready. But their exchange wasn't lost on the rest of the band. One of them, member 2, who was closest to RK, caught a glimpse of the serious tone and called out, "Hey, what's going on over there? You two look like you're discussing world domination." RK knew there was no more hiding. He gathered his thoughts, trying to find the right words. But before he could respond, the rest of the band fell silent, sensing the shift in the air. RK looked at his friends, the people who had been by his side, through thick and thin. They deserved the truth. Taking a deep breath, he started slowly. "SV's mother. She asked me to marry SV." The room went dead silent. Shock painted every face. No one spoke for a moment as the gravity of what RK just said sank in. "Wait, what?" Member 1 blurted out, breaking the silence. "You can't be serious." "I am," RK said quietly, Her mother thinks I can take care of SV, and SV saved my life. I feel like I owe her that much. I agreed because I don't want to be selfish. Member 2 leaned forward, his expression one of disbelief. You're thinking of marrying SV because you feel like you owe her? Man, that's your life we're talking about here. Yeah, Member 3 chimed in, his face scrunched in frustration. SV, the same SV who's made your life a living hell ever since that incident at JB Label? She caused you nothing but trouble, RK. Why would you even consider this? Member 2, the eldest of the group, stood up, his voice more serious than the rest. Let's be real here, RK. We all know SV's reputation. She's ruthless, selfish, and gets what she wants by any means necessary. Remember how she manipulated things at JB Label just to get back at you. The rest of the band nodded in agreement. Member 2 continued. She's made it clear from the beginning. No one gets in her way, and if they do, she destroys them. This is the same woman who's been tormenting you for a long time. What makes you think saving your life won't be just another one of her twisted games? Exactly, Member 1 added, his voice more heated now. She doesn't do anything without a reason. Saving your life, that doesn't fit her MO. It's hard to believe she did it out of kindness. Hell, we've seen her destroy people's careers for less. She's not the type to do anything without an agenda. Even if she saved your life, Member 3 interjected, you don't have to ruin your own life as payback. You can't let guilt dictate your decisions. The group fell silent for a moment, letting their words sink in. RK could feel the weight of their argument. They weren't wrong. SV's actions at JB Label had been ruthless, calculated, and designed to make his life difficult. Why would she save him now? Jill leaves with the band, seeing the intensity of the conversation and sensing that RK needed some time alone to process. Jill decided to leave with the rest of the band. They all left together, the door closing behind them with a sense of finality.